Yes, good afternoon in association with Dairy Gold Co-op Superstores. Welcome once again to the Examiner's coverage of the Cork Premier Senior Championship. We're down to the last four in the race for the Andy Scannell Cup, and it's Páirc Uí Rinn here in Cork that will bear witness to the first of the semi-finals as the record 21-time county champions Nemo Rangers take on the 3-time champions Duhallow. Des Curran delighted to be alongside two men who bring us back to the glory days of 2010. Colm O'Neill and Conor Coonahan with me here as well. Conor, if we start with Nemo, it's been pretty impressive from them to this point, I guess. 3 wins out of 3 in the group, and then reversing recent championship results against Ballincollig last time out.
Yeah, look, as you said, they've done what they had to do up to date. Performance against Ballincollig, was a step up again from the previous round. They got 5 goals in that game. Great ability to get goals, and if you're getting that type of goals, you're going to win a lot of matches. But look, you'd be thinking that maybe Duhallow would look at this and say, we need to do something about that. But look, Nemo, their typical strength is their kind of unit as such, whether that's defensively or attacking wise, albeit that, I suppose guys like Mark Cronin now and also Luke Connolly up front are key men, and I think if Duhallow must hold them reasonably well to try and be in this game and to try and stay in the game as much as possible. Again, Duhallow the last day, probably played quite defensively, particularly on kickouts, and lost a lot of kickouts. I think they need to put pressure on them today. But yeah, look, the middle of the field is going to be very, very interesting. Yeah. Who's going to win the ball out there? Who's going to win the breaking ball? And look, you have to fancy Nemo, but you'd had 4 Duhallow players yesterday out playing yesterday with clubs. Must be a bit tired, but there's a lot of good footballers in Duhallow. There's a lot of guys on the bench, so let's hope we get a good game. Yeah,
Colm, you're from Ballyclaw, just over the road from Kanturk there, and a few Duhallow clubs around you. They go back to the well again this year. The nearly men, they've come so close in recent years, losing the last 2 finals. How easy or otherwise would it have been for the management team to lift the squad to go again this year?
Yeah, I think, look, credit to them. They've been knocking on the door now the last 3 or 4 years. I think these teams know each other inside out now at this stage, and I suppose at the start of the whole pandemic, you would have said it would have been very difficult for a divisional team to get it going because a lot of club championships were playing week on week. So I suppose it's a credit to the management and the players to show up week in, week out. And as Conor said, I think there's 4 starters for Duhallow had played a game yesterday, so it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to get through that. Will it have any effect? But as Conor said, look, it's looking for an exciting end-to-end game. I can see it's fairly blustery out there, so the wind is definitely going to have an impact on the game as well. But hopefully we're going to get a good spectacle here now today. Yeah,
let's check on the teams then. We'll start with Duhallow for you. And as was mentioning there, they were sweating on a few games that were taking place yesterday. They had Kanturk, Rockchapel and Duntariff players all in club action. The good news is that all 3 of those clubs won, so I guess it's easier to bounce into a game like this off the back of victories. And in terms of fitness, we believe everybody's come through it, and they will go 1 to 15 as selected. You look at Donogh O'Connor. You know him a long time, 39 years of age now, and still going strong. The Kanturk group he mentioned, the hurlers lost at the semi-final stage of the Senior A Championship last weekend, but the footballers yesterday with a massive win against Kilnamartyra, and they'll face Knocknagree in the final, an all-Duhallow final. Who else are we looking out for here, Colm, in this Duhallow team?
Look, I think Conor alluded earlier on as well about the midfield battle. I think there's only one change, I suppose, that started for Duhallow the last game. Sees Paul Walsh in at number 8. He obviously played with Kanturk yesterday. Himself, Paul Walsh and Mark Ellis will be a formidable midfield partnership. 2 very athletic guys will be up and down the field when I suppose they'll be coming against 2 elder statesmen on the other side with Peter Morgan and Jez McDermott. So it's going to be interesting to see how that battle is going to fare out.
Conor, from an Nemo point of view, it's hard again to look past the impact that Luke Connolly has made yet again this year. 520, I make it his tally. He scored 3-3 in the quarter-final win against Ballincollig, but it's a massive supporting cast with him as well.
Yeah, but he has been central to everything, and you just wonder if Luke if Duhallow had someone capable of marking him today, or if he had a bad day in the office, what kind of an impact that would have. But going back to the midfield thing, I suppose the kick-outs are crucial here, and there's a lot of pressure on both goalkeepers to get this right on the day. Now, the goalies are only as good as the people out the field in terms of the movement and that sort of thing. But yeah, certainly Luke is a big cog on the wheel, and have Duhallow got someone to mark him. It would be a major plus if they could.
That's a big part of this game, isn't it?
Yeah, and I suppose it's going to be interesting. Duhallow probably would have watched the Nemo Ballincollig game, and it'll be interesting to see will they go man on man with the forwards Nemo have, or will they start off with a sweeper. I think it's Colin O'Brien for Nemo, plays wing forward, but he has a tendency to drop back, so that might free up maybe Bart Daly to play as a sweeper.
And Bart Daly's wearing 7, but you think he might operate in and around that full back line?
That's what I'm thinking now. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see will they be playing with the wind or against the wind. So that's going to be one to watch out for as well. Yeah,
one quick word maybe before we get the throw in here. The other semi-final taking place later, Castlehaven against the Bars. It's going to be a cracker as well.
Yeah, I see the bookies have the Bars are 2-1 on that. So I think the bookies probably I looked at the Bars last Wednesday night, and they certainly need to improve that performance now. Albeit that Newcestown are a dogged outfit, to try and break down. I think the Bars need to up their game. Everything looks, as if it's ticking nicely for the Haven. But look, it's championship. Bars are very experienced, but I just wonder are they as good as they have been in the last year or two?
Just looking down, Padraig Kearns and one, not quite sure who it is amongst the Duhallow players that I can see in there who's giving the final rallying cry. They're all grouped in tightly together down under the stand here on this near side. For Padraig Kearns, his 4th year in charge, 2017 semi-finalists, 2018 beaten finalists, 2019 beaten finalists. It's an incredible record, but it's one now they just have to take that extra step. Are they capable of that this year, Conor?
Yeah, there comes a point, like they have a lot of good young players there in the backline. The two O'Mahony's there and Knocknagree, 2 promising players in that. You'd like to think that these lads might come of age today, but it's a very, very experienced. Nemo have been down this track so often, and you'd say you could catch them on the day and this and that. It very rarely happens. You have to give them fierce credit for that. But look, notwithstanding that, certainly Duhallow have the ability. It's a question of producing it.
Yeah, I suppose it's important to note as well that we were just saying it off air a while ago that the final next week between Kanturk and Knocknagree. So next year Duhallow are going to be without one of them group of players. So I suppose that'll be in the back of their head as well. Is this their year to finally do it? Yeah.
Is it now or never for Duhallow? Well, they've come so close in recent years. Is this the year? They haven't won it since back in the early 90s, wasn't it, when the great Danny Cullity was captaining their team to back-to-back titles. And there are connections, of course, to back then. John Finton Daly, his son of the same name, is on the substitutes bench for Duhallow today. And we should mention as well two men again who you know well and who continue to give massive service, not just to the county as it were, but to the club. We'll speak maybe after the anthem about Donegal O'Connor and Paul Kerrigan. Very much a day up here in the commentary position to hold on to your notes because they could go flying. The wind is starting to come in here now as well. It's very, very blustery. It will be Duhallow. Looks like they'll be playing from left to right as we're looking at it. Just looking to see if there are any late changes. I'm just looking at Bart Daly. The number 7 we mentioned might be operating in around the full back line at the moment. It looks like he's gone into the left half forward position, but we'll wait and see exactly how things settle down once we have the throw in here. So it is the first of the 2 semi-finals of the Cork Premier Senior Football Championship taking place at Páirc Uí Rinn today. Castlehaven to meet St Finbarrs later this evening, but first up it is Nemo Rangers against Duhallow. These two face off again. Fantastic rivalry over the last few years. The ball is thrown in by our referee, who is Alan Long, and we are underway. Mark Ellis, Cork senior hurler, stabs the ball back in the first attack. It looks like Duhallow are looking to mount that down towards their right hand side, and here's an opportunity straight away for Jerry O'Connor of Boherbue. Gets the hand pass away, trying to link up with Donegal O'Connor, and Donegal O'Connor works it back towards the 45 metre line, picked up by Fintan O'Connor, one of 5 Knocknagree players in the starting 15 for Duhallow. Can they get a shot away? Paul Walsh of Kanturk, one of those in action yesterday, and now it's kept moving by Shane Hickey of Mill Street. And Duhallow settling. Everyone getting an early touch. Worked on by Conor O'Callaghan and on in turn by Kevin Cremin. Someone's going to pull the trigger, and that will not have enough to carry over the crossbar of Micheál A. Martin. The Nemo Rangers goalkeeper gathers that one from Fintan O'Connor. And just a test early on for those Duhallow forwards to try and gauge the breeze, the strength of it.
Yeah, just an indication there of that ball. Fintan O'Connor looked from where we were here, it was quite kickable, but obviously the wind took it, dropped short, and fellas have got to find their range now pretty quickly and avoid dropping the ball into the goalkeeper's hands.
Nemo's first chance to mount their first attack of the afternoon, and it's worked on by Ronan Dalton, who scored 1-1 in each of their last 2 games. He was one of those who featured in the Premier Intermediate quarter-final against Knocknagree, where Nemo's second string were beaten. Mark Cronin turning sharply and earning his side the free.
Yeah, great patient play there by Nemo. Obviously Duhallow playing with the wind. Nemo dropped a lot of fellas back, and they'll be comfortable enough in working the ball up and leaving Luke and Mark only two lads up. So I'd fancy Luke now to get this over the bar and settle him.
We were watching him taking frees in the warm-up, and certainly they were pulling to the left-hand side, so we might expect well to see him set this well off to the right-hand side. Luke Connolly, he's a tally in the championship in his Nemo Rangers history, 23 goals, 202 points. He's got 520, as we mentioned already this year. He is the main man for Nemo Rangers. Didn't catch that one cleanly. It looked awkward in the end for Patrick Doyle, the Duhallow goalkeeper, who saw it skip away and wide.
And it looks as if Daniel O'Mahony is picking up Luke Connolly.
We look at Duhallow over the last few years as well. As Barry O'Driscoll intercepts that kick out. Barry O'Driscoll's had the haircut for the occasion. Certainly won't be getting in his eyes today anyway. Here is Ronan Dalton, works it to Kerrigan. Always the link man getting involved. Jack Horgan, Peter Morgan, and Kerrigan on the run around. This is patient from Nemo, and now Mark Cronin, All-Ireland Under-20 winner last year with Cork, looked to drive his way through. Duhallow shut the door though. Now the orange and black look to break out into the Nemo half. Hand pass popped on to Conor O'Callaghan, who was playing hurling for Drumtariff in a big win against Brian Dillons yesterday. Here's an opportunity. Seamus Hickey has got support on the inside. Is there a sense of a goal here for Duhallow? Ball left behind though by Fintan O'Connor. Nemo have the numbers to bottle him up and eventually work the ball away.
Yeah, a good turnover there by Nemo. I think Duhallow will probably be anxious to get a score to settle them down with the win, so they'll be looking to get an early score on the board there.
Good pressure there by Owen McSweeney. Pushed his opponent out over the line, and Duhallow now have the ball in the middle of the field.
Jack Horgan was looking for a ball down into the corner. He was looking towards Luke Connolly. Couldn't see him though. Luke Connolly being picked up by Daniel O'Mahony, who is the nephew of the 5-time All-Ireland winner with Kerry Aidan O'Mahony. Good defensive pedigree there. Now here goes Paul Walsh of Kanturk, cousin of Aidan, son of Jerome. That one to the right and wide.
And that's a wide again, and Dunica there now. I suppose that win seems to be very difficult to kick through, but it's very obvious that Nemo are putting bodies across the middle there, just inside the 45, and Duhallow are going to have to go wide over and back to break that down and get somebody with a bit of power and a pace to break that line. Now
here's an opportunity for James McDermott, second year in, former Roscommon Gales man. Takes the shoulder, gets the hand pass away, and Luke Connolly looking to get in behind here.
Yeah, great.
Bart Daly is back there as well, and maybe they are looking to double up.
Great busting run down the middle there by James McDermott, popped it off to Luke, and when Luke is running at you, I don't think any defender would want Luke run at you, so kickable free here for Mark, just on the 14 to settle Nemo.
But I suppose again on your point there, Colm, Duhallow are giving away the frees, whereas Nemo on the opposite side aren't conceding frees, and this will be a handy kick over for Mark Cronin.
So it was Luke Connolly missing from the right-footed effort. It's Mark Cronin with the left-footed effort. He makes no mistake. First score of the afternoon, and it goes the way of the champions Nemo Rangers. Kick out for Patrick Doyle. Went to the left last time, intercepted by Barry O'Driscoll. Goes right down the middle this time. All the big men climbing for it. Broken down though by Jack Horgan of Nemo, and Nemo have the free to come. The strength of this Duhallow side, they've had 2 very contrasting games so far. Remarkable game against UCC in the divisional section that went to extra time, and then they looked beaten here against Valley Rovers, ended up winning it by a point with a very strong finish. Plenty of character in the team. Oh, and that's misjudged. Came out to try and win it. John McLaughlin left space in behind, and Paul Kerrigan punishes.
Great score there from Paul off the left. John McLaughlin just dived in there, misjudged the ball. But Nemo very, very patient on the ball. I don't think playing against the wind will phase them, so they're just taking their chances, and up to a 2-point win, which is a 2-point lead, is a great start for them.
Looks like Paul Walsh is off the pitch at the moment. I think he doesn't have a gum shield, and that's been spotted by the officials, and now it's a frantic scramble to try and find him one. So down to Duhallow, down to 14 at the moment as Stephen Cronin picks it up and advances. Pops the hand pass out to this left hand side. Ronan Dalton going so well in training of late. Apparently that's he's had to be picked by the management. Here is Mark Cronin. Angle ball watched all the way by Patrick Doyle, one of this Knocknagree contingent, and their emergence over the last few years, All-Ireland Junior winners a couple of years ago, has played a massive role in where Duhallow are at the moment.
Yeah, Duhallow a bit unsettled now at the minute. Nemo have the ball, keeping possession, and in contrast to what Nemo doing, Duhallow are being spread a small bit out into corners, guys following guys out to the corner forward position when they're in no danger. They need to box it up.
Here's Peter Morgan. Good block on that from Conor O'Callaghan, and out for a 45.
For 45, and Duhallow playing it with the wind. They're still very deep. There's only 2 Duhallow forwards in their own half, so dropping very deep. But the wind seems to be kind of swirling here, so it's hard to know what way it's going, really, to be honest.
And even looking at one or two of the Nemo shots, they are difficult enough to score, even playing into this side here. And I think it's going to be a fairly low scoring game.
Nemo perfect in their group, beating the Valleys, Bishopstown and Douglas. Missed out on passage straight to the semi-finals after Castlehaven beat Island Rovers by 21 points in their final group game. So on scoring difference, Castlehaven had a +5 advantage over Nemo. They're the side who've had a little bit of a break ahead of the semi-final against St Finbarrs this evening. Luke Conley, that familiar style of his. That one's drifting left and wide as well. So still remains 2 points to 0 in favour of Nemo Rangers. Duhallow looking to find their first score of the day. Patrick Doyle looking for options again. Paul Kerrigan seems to be orchestrating the defensive efforts right up front there for Nemo Rangers. And pass worked out to the left hand side, and Duhallow looking to advance now. Here's Shane Hickey. Pops the hand pass, support arriving on his shoulder. Fintan O'Connor. Nemo again looking to block those spaces. Duhallow trying to work their way through. And then just overrunning it was Fintan O'Connor. And too much on the pass for the first man. Picked up by Owen McSweeney. Jonathan O'Connor pops it forward to Mark Ellis. 3 points in play against Valley Rovers here in that quarter-final win. But again, it's across the 45-metre line where Nemo are standing strong. James McDermott beaten by a lovely dummy. That one's dropping in, it's awkward, and it's Luke Connolly in front of his goalkeeper who got his hands on it.
Yeah, Nemo are very deep as well against the wind. I suppose they're happy enough just to clog up any scoring opportunities. But Duhallow, as Conor said earlier on, look a bit unsettled, so they'll be anxious just to get a score on the board, just to settle them some bit. Interesting
to see Luke gathering the ball there on the back of the edge of the square. Not a place I'd want to have him when he's that potent. I'd like to have him closer to goal.
He's the second deepest of the Nemo outfield players still, as Peter Morgan picks it up and looks to advance. He'd retired, Peter Morgan, at the start of the year, having given so much service in his 14th year now with Nemo Rangers in terms of senior football, but apparently he was back training, just looking to play a bit of junior or intermediate, and he was going so well. There was a bit of an injury crisis ahead of their opener in the group against Valley Rovers that he was plunged straight back in, and he's stayed there since.
Yeah, I suppose it can't be underestimated, the wind here, and I suppose between the 245s there's a lot of bodies around, so it's very hard to lads to break the tackle. So I think both teams are kind of clogging up the middle, and I think it's going to be a low scoring game the way things have started here now.
Yeah, maybe a day for low scores and hard running here, trying to carry that ball into a scoring position. Jack Horgan pops the hand pass inside. Luke Connolly looking to help it on first time, intercepted by Kevin Cremin. The Boher man gets it to Mark Ellis, and now Donnacha O'Connor. When he looks up and there's a wall of green and black shirts ahead of him, the hand pass goes astray. Nemo back in possession again. It's Peter Morgan once more, hand passes it to his midfield partner James McDermott. Just trying to put his head down, get the legs pumping and drive Nemo out of their own half. Barry O'Driscoll. McDermott keeps it moving. Here's Kevin O'Donovan. They're making headway here, Kevin O'Donovan, but it's a case of so far no further. Held up on the 45-metre line. Kerrigan back to McDermott again. And O'Donovan stays inside the opposition half. Ronan Dalton pops the hand pass away. Colin Tucker O'Brien on the occasion of his 83rd championship game for Nemo. McDermott pops the hand pass inside. He's asked a bit of Mark Cronin there. And Duhallow spy their opportunity, pounce, and now they look to go again. Owen McSweeney. Support to his left-hand side from Fintan O'Connor. The Knocknagree man keeping it between them. Back out to Owen McSweeney again. And good running off the ball here. Fintan O'Connor again. And again, you can see he didn't fancy taking the shot on there. Here's Mark Ellis. Held up by the Nemo sweeper. That's Colin Tucker O'Brien. Working it left now, and eventually there is a shot coming in from Paul Walsh. That's a magnificent score. Well, they bided their time. It was patient, and it was the right pass in the end. Fantastic score.
Great score there from Paul Walsh, 45 yards outside the boot, but it is a score I think Duhallow well needed just to settle them down and get the score on the board.
Yeah, but they were a bit more patient here. They stretched it over and back, and they have to continue to do that if they're going to break down this Nemo defence.
And I think the fact that Paul Walsh took it on, judged the win to perfection, saw that one sail over the crossbar, might give some of his teammates confidence that range is there for them. Down into the corner for Seamus Hickey of Rockchapel. Gets the hand pass back to Donnacha O'Connor, who made his Duhallow debut back in 2000. O'Connor forced out. This is an ambitious effort as well. Oh, and that's even better than the one that preceded it from Paul Walsh. They're starting to find their range now, Duhallow.
Super score there from Donnacha off his right leg on the turn, 45 yards out, judging the win to perfection. Great score.
But it is all about judging that wind, isn't it? Particularly if you're on the left-hand side over, the wind will take it. But if you're here kicking from the right-hand side, it's holding it up. So you've got to be very patient and try and find your range.
And I think that shooting, those last two scores from Duhallow, won't have gone unnoticed amongst the likes of Mark Cronin and Luke Connolly when they start looking ahead to the second half. Short kick out taken to Barry Cripps, who played football at school under Paul Kerrigan for Coláiste Creashree. Not sure whether that proves that Barry Cripps is a young man or Paul Kerrigan's getting on a little bit in years. But Kerrigan and Donnacha O'Connor, we mentioned them at the outset, two vital components in this game for their respective teams.
Yeah, two lads who gave great service to, I suppose, both clubs and Duhallow, and Donnacha with Duhallow. Two leaders for these guys.
Here's Ronan Dalton. Luke Connolly on the run around, the injection of pace. He's left Daniel O'Mahony in his wake. The ball in towards Mark Cronin. Goalkeeper's lost it. Might be a goal chance. Duhallow scrambling frantically. John McLaughlin gets himself on the right side to prevent Mark Cronin heading towards goal, but Nemo will have the free to come.
Yeah, that was a superb ball from Luke, just a bit off, and the keeper just mishandled it and gave Nemo an opportunity there. And I think we'll have another point on the board here now for Mark Cronin to put Nemo 1 point in the lead.
Well, if you saw the Nemo game against Ballincollig, there was a pass from Luke Connolly. I think it was Mark Cronin ended up scoring the goal at the end of it. One of the passes of the season so far, and he's more than capable. He's got the vision and the ability to execute those passes, Luke Connolly.
Yes, Luke has that in his locker, all right, and I think himself and Mark Cronin have a great understanding. Luke probably goes to pick up Mark at passes most times, so they'll try and link up, I suppose, throughout the game here today.
No problems for Mark Cronin. 2 frees from a similar position for the left footer. So that's 2 for Mark Cronin, 3 for Nemo, and they lead by 1 again. Kick out taken short from Patrick Doyle, but too short as it was. And that's a fundamental error, a basic error from Duhallow. Now the ball will be thrown up. James McDermott of Nemo already on his way to contest it. Up against Paul Walsh. McDermott's on his back, but he's managed to secure the ball. Then it was stripped. A real scramble for possession. It's Nemo who have it. Peter Morgan looking to get it away to Connolly. Excellent hand in again. And Duhallow off they go once more.
Great turnover there from Dan O'Mahony, kind of made up for the error in the kick out, so Duhallow on the attack here now.
Conor O'Callaghan of Drumtariff looks across towards that left-hand side of the pitch where they got their 2 scores from so far. The first of them provided by this man, Paul Walsh, who had a massive role to play yesterday against Kilnamartyra to set up the All Duhallow Premier Intermediate final between Kanturk and Knocknagree. But that's for another day. Plenty of air on that one from Jerry O'Connor. Just didn't come in enough in time. And it remains by 3 points to 2.
Yeah, again, the fact that it was coming from this side of the field this time, he was kicking into the wind and it just didn't take. So, I don't think those ones are really on coming from this side. Maybe from the left-hand side over, you might get away with it, but certainly not this side. But it's very, very open now at this stage.
We've played 16 minutes, Colin, where the wind has been a dominant factor in terms of shot selection, in terms of how Duhallow in particular are approaching the game, but it took them a little while to find their range, but the 2 scores they got very impressive.
It did, yeah. Look, the wind is a huge factor here. It took Duhallow, I think, a few minutes to settle and get their bearings with the wind, but super long-range efforts from Paul Walsh and Donnacha O'Connor just settled them. I think Nemo have got there's a 2 frees, they've got their score, so I think they'll probably be happy enough at the water break to be playing against the wind and a point up.
Yeah, that's it, because I think certainly the wind looks as if it's going to be worth something, provided you play it correctly from the left-hand side. You'll get scores from distance. Like Duhallow, in the second half against that wind, will have to carry the ball through, and that's going to be very difficult to break down that Nemo defence. But look, still very, very much all to play for.
Padraig Kearns of Duhallow, the manager, is down there with his selectors, James Condon, William O'Leary, Pat Gare, and the coach Cormac Lennon. What will they feel they'll need at half-time going in, given they'll be turning around and the elements will be against them in that second half?
I think they'll probably say to themselves they need to be, hopefully, from their point of view, a few points up, but I suppose the main thing is that they're still in the game and that they're patient and that they start playing more possession football, not panicking, not giving the ball away, and certainly not giving away frees at the back. It's about keeping possession now, and it's about minimising Nemo's opportunities up front.
We could see from last week as well, I think if they can get to half time and not having Nemo got a goal, I think Nemo thrive on getting goals. So if they can keep the goals out, I think that's what they'll be focusing on from now until the half time break.
And as we've seen in their 2 games already played, Duhallow, a side that never know when they're beaten. They'll keep going right to the end. And this one is intriguingly poised now as we head into the second quarter, and the wind whips up again around Parky Rin.
Duhallow there against the wind, pushing up on the kick out, putting the pressure on Mihal. Couldn't get it away short and have won the free here now, 45 yards out.
And to be fair to Mihal and both goalkeepers, it's extremely difficult.
Taken back to Bart Daly. Bart Daly has support arriving on his right shoulder. Shane Hickey, and they work it forward into this right hand corner. Donnacha O'Connor again looking to bend it off the outside of his right boot, and that's maybe the most difficult shot there is today from that right hand corner.
A bit ambitious there from Donnacha. I think they'll be trying to work it in and around the D to get the scores, but look, I suppose they're well on top here now, and Mihal is trying to get the ball out short here again, but there's no options. Duhallow after pushing up on him.
A reminder, the second semi-final to come live with us on the Examiner later on. St Finbarr's against Castlehaven. Donnacha O'Connor with the hand pass gets it to Owen McSweeney. Here's Mark Ellis looking to power his way through. Duhallow feeling he was fouled. Nemo looking for the charge call. In the end, the referee decided not to blow the whistle at all, and it's Barry O'Driscoll who gets the hand pass away, but that's a loose one, and Duhallow have turned it over. Back in possession. Paul Walsh works it out to that far side. The pressure came in late from Barry O'Driscoll, and that maybe was sufficient to see that shot fall short and into the waiting hands of Mihal A. Martin.
Yeah, Duhallow certainly getting a lot of possession now, but not getting the return on the scoreboard, which is key with that wind.
Here is Barry Cripps. Some space to run into over on that far side. Jerry O'Connor going to cross to make the tackle now and hold Cripps up before he can advance into the Duhallow half.
Great pressure. Duhallow putting on an awful lot of pressure since the water break. They're really after opening the notch and 2 or 3 turnovers there in the last few minutes.
Well, maybe they feel this is a vital quarter for them, that they need to find a lead. Well, that one was really struck from a long way out. Looked like it might carry as well, just dropped short. Martin got his hands in it again.
I think he was looking for, I see Seamus Hickey made a run inside. I don't actually think it was a shot. I think it was a pass, but you see the power of the wind there, it carried it all into Mihal Martin there.
Now here is Barry O'Driscoll for Nemo. Held up and halfway. Carrigan picks a lovely angle. Good supporting run. There's the hand pass for Ronan Dalton. Bart Daly standing there in front of him. Unable to halt his charge though. Dalton gets it away to Mark Cronin. Lovely little shimmy. Fain to come inside. Back onto his favourite left foot and over the bar.
Yeah, a lot of good work done by Ronan Dalton in the build up to that. Had the power and strength to and pop the ball into Mark Cronin and put it over the bar.
He's a quality operator. Mark Cronin made his debut 2 years ago in the championship against Clyde Rovers. Scored 1-3 in the All-Ireland Under-20 final against Dublin last year. And pass from Paul Walsh. Here's Owen McSweeney, strong ball carrier. Saw him in action with the Cork senior team in league and championship last year. Mark Ellis gets his hand pass away, but look how many Nemo shirts are back behind the ball again. Well, that was hand over the shoulder from Barry O'Driscoll. Referee was looking to allow the advantage, didn't need to in the end. Point taken, and a very good score that from Fintan O'Connor.
Great score from Fintan there. He's been very active in the first 20 minutes. Got on a lot of ball. And it's a great score there. Just about 1 point between them again.
Fintan O'Connor scored 10-22 for Knocknagree in their march to the Premier Intermediate final. Scored 4 points in the quarter-final win against the Nemo second string. As that's beautifully taken by Jack Horgan, showing his former midfield fetching skills there. Barry O'Driscoll back to Horgan again, some space to attack in front of him. He's got Ronan Dalton to his left. There's the hand pass. Luke Connolly comes out to receive it. Beautifully balanced off either side, Luke Connolly. And Ronan Dalton again, 1-1 in each of the last 2 games, and just thought for a moment about heading towards goal. Bottled up, an excellent defence again from Duhallow.
Yeah, but Nemo probably overplayed it a small bit. Some great intricate passes, but then left it a bit too intricate in the finish.
The Duhallow management down below us asking their team to get on with it, to drive up the pitch here. Luke Connolly comes in with the shoulder, fairly hefty one, a robust one on Kevin Cremen. The Boher Bui man takes it well though. And here is Bart Daly, ball into Owen McSweeney. McSweeney, strong runner, good ball carrier, gets it away to Fintan O'Connor. Paul Walsh out to the right hand side. Here's Conor O'Callaghan, fantastic hurler, part of the Cork under-20s the last couple of years. Conor O'Callaghan. And here is Donnacha O'Connor coming out the field to get on the ball a little bit more, held up by Barry O'Driscoll. Paul Walsh, O'Callaghan, it's a sharp turn, a chance to get his shot away here. That's beautifully taken.
Great kick there by Conor O'Callaghan. Duhallow very patient around the 40 yards, just waiting for the gap to open, and great direct run by Conor and a great score.
4 points for Duhallow from 4 different scorers.
It's a bit worrying though to see that point being kicked from nearly 45 metres there, and with that win, you'll think that Nemo, will really punish in the second half if they get the ball up there.
Yeah, both teams seem to be just getting a lot of bodies behind the ball and carrying it up through the hands and waves. So I don't think it's a day for direct long kick passing football.
Yeah, it was the first half that essentially won the county final for Nemo last year. They ended up winning 2-8 to 10 points against Duhallow. They scored just 2 points in the second half, Nemo Rangers. The damage very much done in the first, and very much done by Luke Connolly on that day. He scored 2 goals in the space of as many minutes. And Paul Kerrigan's been penalised here. That free will be brought forward, and this in a very kickable area now. Donnacha O'Connor out to have a look at it. Donnacha O'Connor, who lost the 2012 final, scored 48 points that year. The 18 final, he scored 230 that year.
Donnacha trying to gain a few yards on that free, but the ref knew he's up to.
A bit of experience, almost won out. He might have nicked a little yard there maybe in the end, but that's a beautiful strike, caressed over with plenty to spare by Donnacha O'Connor. And Duhallow find themselves in front 5 points to 4.
Yeah, and that's the important psychologically from a Duhallow perspective, to get their noses in front and maybe put a small bit more pressure on Nemo.
A few little off the balls, toing and froing going on here. We'll keep an eye on those. Seamus Hickey getting involved with Kieran Histon. Kieran Histon, who has won counties within McKilly at senior hurling level. Here's Bart Daly. Patient to keep it. And now the support arrives from Shane Hickey of Mill Street. And Shane Hickey driving beyond James McDermott. Now needs some support. It arrives from Mark Ellis. Hickey will have to go again though. Tried the jab pick up. Might have been better just bending his back and getting his toe underneath, and in the end it's Hickey who commits the foul, and Nemo have the free.
Again, Duhallow be disappointed, 2 or 3 men on the ball there and still managed to turn it over, and now Nemo on the counter-attack.
And pass back to Stephen Cronin, one of the 3 Cronins on the team, along with Mark and Alan. And here is Colin Tucker O'Brien.
See, Duhallow are playing with nearly 2 sweepers inside in front of Luke Connolly, so I think they're anxious to mind the house and make sure they don't sneak in for a goal.
Yeah, I think we anticipated that with Bart Daly, as we said at the outset before the throw-in, wearing 7, but we expected him in and around the full back line. Luke Connolly, we might see him play a little further out the pitch in the second half with the elements in his favour, but he's in there in the full forward line on his own at the moment, and that pass won't hit him.
I'd be a little concerned that Duhallow had 3 backs marking Luke at one stage there, and like if you keep sitting off like that, Nemo are a good team. They'll open you up and they'll run through it.
The management, respective management teams doing their best to solve the issues they have from the sideline, but the players will have to come up with some solutions on the pitch as well. Here is Bart Daly. A chance to step towards the 45-metre line. Owen McSweeney. Barry Cripps is the man picking him up at the moment. McSweeney fouled. Starting to get more and more on it, Owen McSweeney, the longer this half goes. Hand pass pop forward to Conor O'Callaghan. Oh, it's a good supporting run from Daniel O'Mahony, who's left Luke Connolly alone for now. To add another number to the attack, Seamus Hickey. Held up by Histon, good transfer inside, or it looked like it was at the moment for Mark Ellis.
Just the last few attacks, Duhallow will be disappointed. A lot of kind of balls that have been turned over and just given the possession back to Nemo, and if you keep giving possession back to Nemo, they're going to punish you.
Well, the few who are lucky enough to be in here for this county semi-final are witnessing a tight affair so far, as Nemo got on it again with Ronan Dalton, looking to measure the pass. Not easy in these conditions. Has managed to execute it though. Kevin O'Donovan works the pass to his right hand side. Colin O'Brien waits that one beautifully. Paul Kerrigan right on the end line, needs a little bit of support now. Kerrigan looked inside, saw Connolly being well marked. It's back with James McDermott. Stephen Cronin up from centre half back to his left. Instead he looks to his right. O'Brien, and now it's Barry O'Driscoll. Cuts across it beautifully with his left foot. Terrific score from Barry O'Driscoll.
Great score from Barry O'Driscoll, but again, no, it's defying me in terms of the win there. He's 35 yards out and he kicks that, and he had plenty to spare. So I don't know, is the win going to be that significant of an advantage? It's certainly playing games with us up here.
Yeah, it's swirling. It's hard to know which way it's going, but great kick there from Barry.
Bart Daly ships the shoulder from Luke Connolly. Here's Jerry O'Connor, the experienced Boherbury man. Luke Connolly trying to get back at him. Gets the hand in to hold up his progress. Donnacha O'Connor keeps Duhallow moving. Here is Mark Ellis. Looking for options. Big, strong, mobile midfielder. Now will this carry it? Will. Oh, Mark Ellis. That's magnificent. Under real pressure, off balance. And that is right over the red spot.
You'd have been questioning Mark Ellis there. He seemed to be dithering for a bit, and you were kind of saying, don't try it. But to be fair to me, kicked 3 points here the last night against Valley Rovers, and that's a great score.
Credit to both sides. There's some magnificent score has been taken from a lot of men outside the 45 into a strong win. So a great score there from Mark. One that they needed.
Takes him to 1-5 in the championship now. 3 points, as Conor mentioned, against Valley Rovers, adding to his 1-1 against UCC. McDermott. Good bit of work from Paul Walsh just to break it out of his hand. But here's Jack Horgan, no one in front of him. And Horgan strides inside the Duhallow 45. Look for the right-footed pass. Looked a little untidy though, and Duhallow recover. And now they can come away with Kevin Cremin. Scored a point in last year's final defeat to Nemo. And he's driving on here. Horgan, having played the errant pass, working hard to get back goal side again. Cremin gets his hand pass to Fintan O'Connor. Owen McSweeney. Held up by McDermott. Close there and supported Shane Hickey. Hickey works it inside to the man wearing 5. That's Kevin Cremin looking for the angle ball into the corner for Seamus Hickey. The race on with Stephen Cronin. And well judged by Stephen Cronin. Got his hand to it. Oh, and that's high. An easy decision, that one for the referee.
A few words here with the ref.
Good piece of defending that by Stephen Cronin to win the race to the ball against Seamus Hickey, and then drive out, draw the foul, win the free. be a yellow card for
Game
Donegal O'Connor.
Duhallow picking a poor option there, the ball into the corner. Even if it was gathered inside, the guy was going to have to run through. They're just going to have to be patient more and more. But again, typical, Nemo have been turned over here on the other end a few occasions, which would be untypical of them.
Nemo Rangers, the club that have been ultra consistent, a record 21 titles in the last 15 years, quarterfinals or better. 8 titles included in that run. Ball in from Barry O'Driscoll towards Connolly. He looked to get his hand on it. Excellent defending again. And there's the value of the sweeper. Once the ball broke, Bart Daly was right there to take it for Duhallow.
Yeah, a few scrappy mishandlings going on around the base, but as you said, the value of the sweeper, Bart Daly came across and cut out that ball, but very well won around the middle by Barry O'Driscoll, played a great ball in, but as well defended by Duhallow.
The issue then for Duhallow, though, with so many men in and around that full back line, once they cleared it out towards the centre of the field, it was Nemo who had the numbers out there.
Yeah, they've just looking at this attack now, they've 2 men, 2 sweepers back now, they're slowly starting to push out, but if you give Nemo the opportunities around the 45, they'll work a triangle and kick scores from 30-35 yards out.
There's the angle ball again, the race on Daniel O'Mahony. And he's starting to enjoy his task, I think, against Luke Connolly. 32 minutes played in this first half, and now the half-time whistle. It's Duhallow leading by 6 points to 5, and the Duhallow supporters who are here, a rousing ovation for their team. They're in front, but it's only a point, and now with the change of ends in the second half, it's going to be intriguing to see. But as you mentioned, the point that we saw from Barry O'Driscoll might give Duhallow hope that there are kickable points there for them in the second half.
Yeah, and I think typical of divisional teams, the longer they're in the game, the better they'll get. And you know, it's interesting there in the last few minutes, Daniel O'Mahony is doing quite well, and Luke Connolly, you know, again, it's a question of, you know, trying to isolate the better players inside and get them on the ball. And both teams, you know, need to do that if they're to get the score, and a goal will be crucial in this game. Not so sure whether we'll get one or not, but if we do, I think that's going to be a turning point.
Yeah, I think Duhallow actually there's been a lot of errors, but they've kicked some good scores. But I think if you told them they'd be a point up at half time, albeit they'll be playing against the wind here now, but they'll be happy enough not to concede any goals here, I think.
Yeah, and if there are ghosts lingering from that final of last year, they were almost a beaten side at half time. Such was Nemo's dominance and the scores that they racked up in the first half. Very different game today.
Yeah, Paul Welsh has been breaking a lot of ball in the middle. If you have to question, is that guy going to be able to keep this going for another 30 minutes? Because he put in a tough hour yesterday below in Mallow, and like, they're more dominant in the middle of the field, Duhallow, I feel, but I think Nemo could get a grip there yet.
Yeah, I think in these conditions as well, it's not just the difficulty in trying to pick your score, pick the right place to kick it from, the right time to kick it, but even just with a wind this strong, up and down the pitch, catching your breath, keeping those legs going for an hour is going to be difficult.
Yeah, it is easy for us here, but there's really tough conditions out on the pitch. Just going to be interesting what way will Duhallow set up now, playing against the wind. They were with the wind in the first half, and for me they were probably a little bit defensive. They weren't really pushing out of Nemo with the wind, like Nemo have the players to pick shots off from 30 yards, 40 yards if Duhallow are sitting back too deep. So it's going to be interesting to see what way they're going to set up.
Yeah, that's one of the questions we were asking in the first half. Will we see Luke Connolly further out the pitch in the second half, do you think?
Possibly, but I suppose I'd still like to see him close to the goal where he's really going to hurt them. But like it's you know, I think the team's going to get tired now in the second half, and it's going to be about, you know, it's going to be about fitness, and it's going to be a bit about power. You know, both teams I think will set up defensively again in front of the D, put bodies there, but you know, concentration will lapse. If you have people now with a bit of strength and a bit of power, guys like Paul Welsh there now would have a bit of power, you know, going through and that sort of thing. But like, I'm sure Nemo halfbacks and things like that, you'll see a bit more overlapping from the likes of Stephen Cronin and Jack Horgan, because to be fair to Duhallow, you know, in the last 10 minutes they've contained them to a fair extent up front.
In terms of the conditions as well, you mentioned right before throwing the athleticism of the Duhallow pair in midfield. You add in, say, Kevin Cremin and Shane Hickey, big roles to play now in terms of carrying that ball forward in the second half.
Yeah, because it is with the wind, it's very taxing to be running there now against the wind. So I suppose that brings into question what kind of benches do both sets of teams have. And I know Duhallow had been getting a lot of joy from their bench the last few games. Now Dara Cashman and Dara Mining came off the last 2 games and got some vital scores. So it's going to be, obviously there's going to be substitutions made. It's just going to see who's going to have the better impact off the bench. I think that's going to be vital here as well today.
Yeah. Conor, I meant to mention it at the start as well, but I mean, you've been in that divisional setup. You've won county titles. Two was it with Tim McKillie, playing within that divisional setup where it's a very different dynamic to get a group together. But if you can get the bond right in terms of how far that can carry you.
Yeah, and look, Duhallow have been together for the last 3 or 4 years, that particular group. So they're very much like a club side at this stage. They'd be, you get that bond when you're together collectively year on year. And, they're as close to a club team now as you'll get, albeit that fine-tuning might be required. But a lot of experience in them now too. They've been there before. It's a big opportunity for them now. And, I suppose, whether we like it or not, Nemo come into this, pretty hot favourites today. And that's a fair burden to carry every day of the week that you come in. And there's some days it just doesn't happen for you. And the problem for, I suppose, when you're managing a team like that is the complacency element, to try and ensure that your guys are on their toes. As it is now, most people are still saying, Nemo in a good position, 6-5. But at the end of the day, you've got to go out, you've got to make it happen.
Nemo have scored in their 4 games up to this point, Colm. I think it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 goals. The fact that Duhallow kept them scoreless in that first half, there was a lot mentioned of the Nemo firepower in terms of getting goals, but that's a big psychological boost for Duhallow.
Yeah, and if Duhallow came in at half time, said that they'd keep Nemo to no goals, they'd be happy. But I suppose Nemo they could turn around now and have 3 goals in the first 10 minutes. So I think if Duhallow are going to have any opportunity of turning Nemo over here, they're going to have to keep the goals out. So it's going to be a tough fast with the quality the Nemo forwards have. But at the moment there hasn't been any real clear-cut chance of goals, so they'll be happy enough with that.
Yeah, what wins it now, Conor, for you, for each of these respective sides? If you were the manager on each side given those instructions, what wins it for them in the second half?
You need a few guys to up their performance a little, just give that bit extra. Like on the Duhallow side, you fellas like Jerry O'Connor there, Noel McSweeney, guys that can punish. They haven't done it now in the first half here today, but they're well capable of kicking scores. On the other side, you're depending on the Mark Cronin and the Luke Connolly to get the scores. And that's a small bit of a worry for Nemo, because you do tend that, yes, we leave it to Luke. And, in fairness, Duhallow have put a big focus on Luke and trying to shut him down. And it has worked reasonably well to date. Can they maintain that? We don't know. But the longer this goes on, the happier Duhallow will be in keeping it tight.
Yeah. This morning we saw the weather conditions and we saw it was ahead of us. We knew this was going to be a game hard one, didn't we?
Yeah, and we've been saying there we've probably been a bit critical on players, and there was a few sloppy turnovers, but conditions are difficult, and I think whichever team can probably limit making these sloppy turnovers and errors will have a fair spearing in what way it's going to finish up.
Yeah, it's a massive 30 minutes ahead for Nemo Rangers and Duhallow here, the first of the Cork Premier Senior Football Championship semi-finals, brought to you on the Examiner, thanks to Dairy Gold Co-op Superstores. Duhallow, who have been to the finals, but they haven't been winning them. They've lost 4 finals since they last won it, back-to-back 90 and 91. They lost in 98 to Bantry, in 12 by a single point to Castlehaven, and they've lost the last 2 by a goal against the Bars after that epic 3-game semi-final against Castlehaven, and by 4 points against Nemo Rangers last year. And as we've mentioned, with the Premier Intermediate final to be contested between 2 Duhallow clubs in Kanturk and Knocknagree, maybe there's a feeling in Duhallow that this has to be their year in terms of this particular group. And straight away Paul Walsh is onto the front foot here. Well, that would have been some rousing score there. It's just gone fractionally to the left and wide.
Very close. He was looking at the linesman there for that, and straight away from the throw-in I see Bart Daly went straight from wing forward back to sit in front of 45 now, albeit he's after pushing up here now for the kick out, but I think that's their tactic. Have at least 1 or 2 sweepers, I'd say, here against the wind.
Paul Welch certainly very powerful going forward. You probably would like to see him steady himself in terms of in front of goal or part with the ball, but his power could cause problems for Nemo.
Yeah, Paul Welch, son of Jerome, who's the link back to those glory years of the early 90s. Pass worked out to the right hand side. Here's Seamus Hickey to resume his battle with Kieran Histon. 2 big strong men. Hickey is the stronger on that occasion though, but from an almost impossible angle. Very difficult shot to take on.
Yeah, I think Seamus will be fairly disappointed with that, because the shot wasn't really on. He was in a good position to be composed and lay the ball out.
Good work from Micheál Martin to see that quick kick out was on to the left hand side. Not really a day to be trying to kick long to pick out a teammate, so they worked that one quickly and worked it short. Nemo, now they're heading towards the centre of the field. Worked back by Histon. Here's Jack Horgan inside to Alan Cronin. Cronin gives the hand pass and looks for it back again. Alan Cronin bringing his side forward. Here's an opportunity for Stephen Cronin. to drop a ball in, just too much in it though for Ronan Dalton. Duhallow back in possession. They start with Patrick Doyle. And the captain gives it to Bart Daly, who's been up and down the pitch, but he's back where we would expect him to be. Here's Donnacha O'Connor back inside his own half. Racing forward, Mark Cronin trying to track him back. Here's Owen McSweeney. Another test here for Barry Cripps. McSweeney powering on. Cripps gets himself goal side again. A little bit of an off the ball stuff between Jack Horgan there and Fintan O'Connor. And Donnacha O'Connor. That one's heading well off target. It's touched off Kevin Donovan though, and had to try and get his balance under pressure and keep that ball in play, which he's managed to do.
Yeah, I think that's 3 probably opportunities for Duhallow in the first 2 minutes here to get the scoreboard taken over again, and probably shot selection there from Donnacha probably wasn't on, but they'll have to keep an eye on that against the wind. Is going to have to take that in and around 25-30 yards out.
I think if either side in this second half can find that little purple patch, maybe 3, 4, 5 points unanswered, that could well be the winning of the game here. Duhallow have had their chances at the start of the second period, haven't taken any of them though, and as it is, it's as it was at half time. Duhallow leading by 6 points to 5. Kevin O'Donovan. And Kevin O'Donovan getting involved again off the ball, and not the first time that that's happened in this half. Here's an effort that is going right, no, but just inside the post, so Nemo have levelled it up.
That's a good ball, good score from Colin O'Brien there, but there seems to be a bit of off the ball stuff going over, and the linesman is now on the field.
It was Kevin O'Donovan. Now, who was it from a Duhallow point of view? Just trying to see, was it John McLaughlin?
John McLaughlin, I think. Yeah. And after whatever happened, Colin O'Brien there, he kicked the point. He went down straight away, whether it was a muscle injury or after kicking it, I'm not sure, but.
So the referee took the advice from the linesman, and he's having a good chat here with John McLaughlin, who captained Kanturk yesterday in that win against Kilnamartyra. Looks like there's a card of some description coming out here.
I suppose that's the worry you had for Duhallow. Look, Nemo just one opportunity there in the first half, straight away over the bar. A lot more, I suppose, more economical than Duhallow were with that win in the first half. So there'll be something to keep an eye on.
So John McLaughlin yellow carded. I think he was trying to make the point that Kevin O'Donovan should have been 2. Linesman didn't see it that way though, and here's Luke Conley. Gets the hand pass away quickly to Paul Kerrigan, striding forward, angle tightening all the time. 2 men marking him, one of them John McLaughlin. Now Luke Conley coming out, looking to find that yard of space to get his shot away. It's not there at the moment, so it's back with James McDermott. Here's Jack Horgan. Stephen Cronin up in the corner forward position, the Nemo centre half back. Taking their time, working it through the hands, Nemo. Here is Colin Tucker O'Brien. James McDermott again. Good pressure there though from Fintan O'Connor. Nemo finding it hard to work their way through. Maintaining possession, all happening in front of Duhallow though. Alan Cronin. And he's had a bit of a swing at that with his left boot in towards Barry O'Driscoll, broken down. Goalkeeper leaves it to his defence to deal with. And eventually Patrick Doyle comes and looks to get involved. And they do manage to work their way clear, Duhallow. Picked up by Kevin Cremin. Barry Cripps working back. Cremin's done well though to evade 2 tackles. Then it was Shane Hickey. And now the impressive Paul Walsh. Down into the corner towards Seamus Hickey, tall in stature and got his hand in it. Here's Donnacha O'Connor, good supporting run. Faced up by Alan Cronin. McDermott there as well as they try to double up on Donnacha O'Connor. Gets the hand pass inside Seamus Hickey. It was just for a moment goal side of Kieran Histon. Just couldn't take the ball with him though. Histon got his hand in. We haven't had many goal opportunities today. That was looking like one for a second for Duhallow.
That was close again, and Duhallow be disappointed with that. You know, it was an opportunity, but it hasn't happened. And Nemo now on the counter with Luke on the break.
Daniel O'Mahony working hard to try and get back at him. He had a couple of pulls and drags at Luke Conley. Referee was looking to allow the advantage. Brings it back for the free now.
Yeah, I think Luke might fancy this, but going back there, Duhallow very close to getting in. A great hand in by Kieran Histon to deny Seamus Hickey. Seamus is a direct runner. Anytime Seamus gets the ball, he only sees one thing, and that's the black spot. So great hand in there by Kieran Histon.
Kieran Histon in those select groups of players to have won senior county titles in hurling and football. As we mentioned, he was a regular part of the Immakilly successful setup of the last few years. But here is Luke Conley. And this would be something from here. As we saw in the first half, it's perhaps the most favourable part of the pitch to be kicking from. And Barry O'Driscoll taken under the ball. Good piece of defending there to make sure he couldn't get up and get a touch on that. And harmlessly wide in the end.
Again, another indication of how difficult that wind is when your fellas like Luke Connolly now missing scores like Dunnett at the other end. Very experienced players. It's extremely difficult out there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, one of those days when certainly as footballers you take the driving rain as long as it was coming straight down against that wind like this any day.
Nemo putting a lot of pressure on Duhallow kickouts as well, just like Duhallow doing in the first half.
Yeah, and that was a big factor in last year's final as well, as Nemo went after the Duhallow kickout. Here's Ronan Dalton. Mark Cronin shows for it well. Support to his left hand side. Kevin O'Donovan keeps it moving. Here is Jack Horgan. Likes it, umpires like it. Excellent score. And a little bit of afters now. Mark Cronin's getting involved here. Jack Horgan trying to play peacemaker. Fantastic score that though. Judged it beautifully, Jack Horgan. But it's starting to get a little bit tetchy out there. We're seeing more and more off the ball collisions.
Yeah, things hotting up, but I think both teams, in fairness, they're not letting any. They don't want any keeper to short kick out. Both teams pushing off the kick out and making it hard on the keeper.
And it's all about the breaking ball now and the kick out. And Nemo have won the last few.
Yeah, it's not a great kick out, that one from Patrick Doyle, claimed uncontested by Peter Morgan. And Luke Connolly once again, Daniel O'Mahony a little bit too eager, bundles him over. Barry O'Driscoll won't get on the end of that one. But the last few minutes, Nemo have been more or less camped inside the Duhallow half. They've got a couple of scores to get themselves 7 points to 6 in front. Duhallow now, after a good start to the second half in terms of getting on the ball and getting forward, albeit without taking any scores, need to try and find that ball again, get on the ball and get moving.
Absolutely, and you'd imagine, whether it's Duhallow or Nemo, that you'd have some bit of a system at some stage when you run into a sticky patch, that you have some bit of a plan that you can get it out. That certainly wasn't the plan.
Well, the kickouts aren't working and Nemo are flooding that central area, but now they might be caught on the counter. Here's a chance for Duhallow. The ball worked early for Donegal O'Connor, who takes it in his stride. Barry Cripps racing to try and get back to him. Donegal O'Connor, score is on, went for goal but pulled it wide. Well, it was too tempting not to try and find the net for Donegal O'Connor. There was an easy point there if he wanted it.
Yeah, I think, look, space is hard to come by here. There was turned over the ball, overlap came and just wide of the post by Donegal. But I think looking back now, probably a pine might have been a better option just to settle down a bit. But it's hard to say one-on-one not to go for it.
Well, it's a let off for Nemo for sure. You saw how quickly Duhallow broke one lovely ball out to Donegal O'Connor and he was in on goal. It's a warning for Nemo, who are back in possession again with Paul Kerrigan. Here is Tucker O'Brien. James McDermott right on his own 45. Alan Cronin has come racing out of the full back line. Well, saw his midfielder needed a ball to give. Oh, and Ronan Dalton's overrun it and he's been dispossessed, and Alan Cronin has a long way to go now, having done so well to get his side up the pitch. Here's Jerry O'Connor. He's quick and it could be a 3-on-2 here. Jerry O'Connor, decision time. Here is Seamus Hickey and he's buried it.
Great goal by Seamus. Very well worked, in fairness. Jerry O'Connor broke it. There was a 3-on-2. Gave it to Seamus, and Seamus, as I said, is a great man to get a goal, and I think, as we said earlier on, a goal is going to be a big score here, so that's a big score for Duhallow.
Jerry O'Connor, great burst of speed there, just got her inside his man and laid it on a plate for Seamus.
Oh, it was outstanding from Jerry O'Connor. You look at what Alan Cronin had done to get Nemo out, and then Ronan Dalton lost possession, but from there Jerry O'Connor took over, strode forward, timed the pass to perfection. And soon after, Seamus Hickey was billowing the back of the Nemo net. There's a change for Duhallow. Coming on is number 29. And that is Aidan Brown. Well, he was on. He's off again now. Yeah, 29 on our list is down as Aidan Brown. He was on and now he's off again. Luke Connolly. He's found a yard on Daniel O'Mahony for once. Was he caught in two minds, Luke Connolly?
Yeah, I think Duhallow will be happy now. Nemo, probably shot selection there by Luke again. Nemo seems a small bit to be a bit all over the place. So I think Duhallow will be happy the way things are going.
Just wondering there, lads, who's coming off there for Duhallow?
Fintan O'Connor.
Now Fintan O'Connor, point scorer in the first half. They're not in agreement. And it's Aidan Brown who has come on.
So next 10 minutes are going to be critical for Duhallow just to keep on top of them and not to let Nemo back into the game here.
And having got the goal, they're back in front. They lead by 167 points, a 2-point lead for Duhallow. 42 minutes on the clock. This is really putting it up to the defending champions, the 21-time county champions, Nemo Rangers. They've got a real job on their hands here, and just the psychological fill-up the goal will have given Duhallow as well. It gives you an extra yard defensively, doesn't it?
Another good turnover there by Duhallow. Yeah, Duhallow in fairness are working very hard around the middle third there and turning them over the last 2 or 3 attacks.
Oh, now the Nemo goalkeeper is down, Micheál A. Martin, and Kieran Histon and Alan Cronin are pointing a finger, I think, at Seamus Hickey. Oh, no, it's not Seamus Hickey, it's Jerry O'Connor. So it's all happening now on and off the ball. Now the umpires, I think, are bringing the referee down here. Now we didn't see what happened, we were following the ball, but Micheál A. Martin ended up on the ground. I think it was Jerry O'Connor who's suggesting there was nothing overly aggressive from his point of view. Maybe just a coming together of the two, but it's down to the referee and the umpires now. This is a big moment in the game. Duhallow have a free as it stands, and Donnacha O'Connor has the ball placed just inside the 45-metre line.
I would worry a small bit for Duhallow on this one, not having seen the incident, but Jerry seems to be pleading his innocence, and when you're pleading a case, you're always under pressure.
Well, this is significant. Duhallow in front, but are they in danger here of losing a man? The referee's taking his time. The card is coming out now. Let's wait and see. It's yellow.
Yeah, whatever happened, I didn't see it now. So whatever the yellow card infringement was for, it was the umpires told the ref. Whatever.
Well, if the card is given, it means the umpires gave the advice that they saw what happened and they were content it was just a yellow card infringement. Nemo have introduced a free as well. Conor Horgan has come on wearing 17. Conor Horgan, a 2019 Sickerson Cup winner with UCC. We'll try and figure out who went off. Our attention was very much drawn to events down towards our left-hand side, but Conor Horgan is on. As Donnacha O'Connor steps up. Oh, the little flick is over the bar. Just for a moment, I thought it might have been going under.
Great touch there by Seamus. Actually thought, I could see it coming. I thought it was very unlucky not to go under the bar, but great flick over there by Seamus.
The game is going Duhallow's way at this stage. Nemo need to get a grip of it now, need to win the ball and get it through and get a score on the board. They haven't scored in quite a while, and the longer that goes on, the bigger challenge it is. Another Nemo sub coming on now.
Well, Barry Cripps is being taken off, and coming on is number 24, who's Aidan O'Reilly, part of the Premier Intermediate team. Breaking ball. Paul Walsh couldn't quite get to the pitch of it. Peter Morgan bottled up. Great pressure again from Duhallow, and they look to break now with Aidan Brown. Gets his hand pass away. Support needed now for Shane Hickey. Had the strength to hold on to it though. Here's Donnacha O'Connor. Bart Daly. The scoreboard down to our right hand side reading Nemo 7, Duhallow 1-6. Is that correct? I'm just wondering, are Duhallow on to 1-7 with the last score? I'm not sure.
I thought it was 176 before the free.
So 1-7 we believe is the correct score. 1-7 to 7 points. The scoreboard in the ground reading 1-6. But on we go. It's Duhallow with the advantage. Here's Kevin Cremin. Gets the hand pass to Donnacha O'Connor, starting to get on ball now. It's certainly a man they'll want on it. Donnacha O'Connor. Good early ball. Man coming out in front is Jerry O'Connor. Jerry O'Connor. James McDermott has managed to dispossess him. Wonderful work from James McDermott. And it's his midfield partner, Peter Morgan, looking to bring it away. And now there's another tangle off the ball. Stephen Cronin of Nemo.
Donnacha is on a yellow already. If that's who he is speaking to, he could be in trouble.
And Donnacha O'Connor Oh, that's a big blow for Duhallow now. It's a red card, yellow followed by a black, and Donnacha O'Connor is off after that off the ball tangle with Stephen Cronin. Well, an incident-packed second half. Now that's a massive, massive blow for Duhallow.
I didn't see what happened. What happened actually to get the second yellow card, but obviously Donnacha's going to be a huge loss for Duhallow now, just when they were starting to get a bit of a grip in the game.
That coming with 47 minutes on the clock. And Duhallow showing their character to come forward again. Alan Cronin read the pass. Gets it back for Nemo and gets it quickly moving. James McDermott, Stephen Cronin easing out towards his right hand side. Instead McDermott looks back to his left hand side. Kevin O'Donovan looks out towards Kerrigan. Kerrigan being held onto for dear life by John McLaughlin. Oh, this is some score. That is some point, and one they needed, Nemo.
That's a great score from Paul under pressure, just inside the 45, and Nemo really needed that score. But you know, with the extra man now, Nemo could push on a bit because they're very, very capable in terms of exploiting that extra man. But I suppose Duhallow are lucky the water break has come now and gives them a small bit of a chance to reorganise.
Just going to say, Jay, I think the water break came at a great time now for Duhallow, just to settle things on again after going down to 14 men, just trying to rearrange things and get lads into the proper position. So.
But this is going to be some final quarter now, isn't it? The scoreboard, it has been corrected inside the ground as well. I can tell you it's Nemo Rangers 8 points, Duhallow 1-7. It's a 2-point lead for Duhallow. And now, as you said, having had Donnacha O'Connor sent off, a chance to tactically rearrange and maybe figure out where they need to have more men and less on the pitch. But it's in their hands, Duhallow. They have the lead. All the pressure now on Nemo Rangers.
Yeah, but we said at the start we might be a bit worried about Duhallow, those players that played just and their ability to keep going over the last 15 minutes. I'm watching Mark Ellis in the middle of the field there. He carried the strap into the game. He's looking to tire now a bit. So whether Duhallow need to introduce one or two more subs, give a bit of fresh legs or not, it might be advisable.
Well, since Nemo was 4 in a row back in 08, the titles have been spread around the county. Nemo with 4, Castlehaven with 2, Clonakilty, UCC, Ballincollig, Carbery, moment of history for them, and St Finbards have all lifted the Andy Scannell Cup. Duhallow have been often, particularly of late, the side looking on, having gone so close but not quite got there.
Yeah, I think just before the water break there was a big score by Paul Kerrigan, just to cut the gap again to 2 points. But look, up 2 points into the water break, it was a great opportunity. I don't think Duhallow will be in a better position to get one over here in Nemo, so I think it's going to go right down to the wire though.
And
Number
Nemo
23
will have to push forward now in an effort to get a score, and that may leave a bit of an opportunity for a gap for Duhallow to score. A lot of niggly stuff developing into the game now, on and off the ball.
Yeah, Aidan O'Reilly is down below getting acquainted with Seamus Hickey. We've also got Alan O'Donovan on as Nemo are ringing the changes here in an attempt to wrest control of this game in the final quarter. Oh, the free taken quickly and picked off by Mark Ellis. Here's Owen McSweeney. That's a basic error, and can Duhallow punish it? McSweeney carries it and happy to hold it, waits for support to arrive from the tireless Shane Hickey. Hickey back to the substitute Aidan Brown. Keep ball is the shout from the Duhallow mentors. With a 2-point advantage, they're happy to do that. Shane Hickey, a difficult man to dispossess. Shane Hickey going for his score. He's not going to find it though. Micheál A. Martin takes it on the bounce. Oh no, he's in danger of losing it. Jerry O'Connor pressurising him. And Kieran Histon just managed to take it at the second time of asking. Risky game from Nemo, but they've gotten away with it. Now they look to drive forward. Ball popped forward towards Barry O'Driscoll, who gets there ahead of Bart Daly. O'Driscoll needs to pick his pass down into the corner towards Mark Cronin, who's racing but won't beat it to the end line. And every little moment like that is a fill-up for Duhallow.
Yeah, Nemo are going to push up here now on the kick-outs. The extra man, they're going to make it harder and Patrick will get his kick-out away, so it's going to be interesting to see what he's going to do here.
For both teams now, again, it's about being patient and not forcing the issue, not making the mistake, and just maintain a bit of composure.
And Patrick Doyle with the old trick of walking out, trying to make it look like he's running so the referee doesn't hurry him up, taking as much time as the referee will allow. That one has been caught by the breeze. Duhallow managed to get on it. John McLaughlin. Oh, it's a dangerous ball. It's Mark Cronin. He's in. Squares it across to Luke Connolly. Oh, what a chance. Mark Cronin could have gone for it himself.
Oh my
I don't
God.
think Luke Connolly was expecting the pass, and when it came, he was off balance. Why didn't Mark Cronin go it alone?
Yeah, I think that was absolutely, as you said there, he wasn't expecting that pass at all. He was expecting it to be finished. That's a serious psychological blow to Nemo there, and it gives Duhallow surely an opportunity now to lift it.
I think it was John McLaughlin, was it, who played that pass across his own goal that Mark Cronin got a hand to. And for all the world, it looked like a goal was on the way for Nemo. Is that the positive omen? Is that the sign that maybe it might be Duhallow's day here? Still plenty of football to be played. 52.5 minutes, so we've got 7.5 plus extra.
Yeah, I think Duhallow will probably know they got away with one there, so we'll lack him a bit of belief there now to push on till the end. I think the next score is going to be a critical score here.
Nemo, the side that hasn't stopped scoring goals all year, but they haven't got one today. Crucially, Seamus Hickey took his chance for Duhallow. Here's Bart Daly, finding it hard to work their way out here. Nemo pushing right up on them. Patrick Doyle, the goalkeeper. Well, that was calm. And he gets the pass away to John McLaughlin. Now they try and break that Nemo press. Luke Connolly coming across with a meaty shoulder. And they've turned it over Nemo. Good hassling, good harrying, good pressure. But they need a score at the end of it. Here's an opportunity from a tight angle, but over the bar. And that reduces it by 1.
Yeah, good score there.
Conor Horgan, is it?
Yeah, that's one thing Nemo aren't going to do on it. They're not going to panic. But I think Duhallow finding it very hard against the wind to get out of their own defence. So Nemo are going to try and pin him in there to the corner, and it's going to do the same thing for this kick out again. John
McLaughlin down there now, probably feeling the pain of yesterday and today. So it's difficult to keep that going. And I suppose it just looked there as if Duhallow had the ball coming out, and Nemo, in fairness, turned them over, and we're now down to a 1-point game. So Nemo now must be feeling fairly good.
Might be a longer afternoon than we bargained for. It's very, very tight. This is going right to the wire here in the first of the two Cork Premier Senior Football Championship semi-finals. A reminder still to come on that with the Examiner here later this evening in association with Derrygold Co-op Superstores, the second semi-final between Castlehaven and St. Finbar's. This time Patrick Doyle decides to get the ball as far away from his goal as he can. Lovely ball taken by Paul Walsh. He's been dispossessed though. Great hand in from Alan Cronin, who's pushed further up the pitch to add his experience. Here's a chance. Bearing down on goal. Takes the point to level the game though, Paul Kerrigan.
Paul showing great leadership there. When the heat is really on, he's come to the rescue there on a number of occasions, and without him, Nemo would struggle.
Yeah, there was a small inkling of a goal, but I think Paul made the right decision there just to tip it over the bar and bring it to all square here.
Yeah, he knows they're on top. He knows they're back on terms now at that point, Paul Kerrigan. He's at third point, I think, today for one of the vital cogs in this Nemo Ranger machine. Connolly, and the presence of mind to take the mark, knowing he's in a very kickable position here. And there is nothing this time that his marker Daniel O'Mahony can do about it. Connolly puts it over, and in the blink of an eye it's Nemo in front by a point now.
I just see Paul Walsh there, the hands and gasping for air. Look, as Conor said, a lot of these players would have played yesterday, so it's a big ask here for Duhallow.
Luke Connolly's first point of the day. And little did we think it would take him 55.5 minutes to find it, and credit to Duhallow's setup for limiting him to that one score. A lot of air on this one. Barry O'Driscoll looked to pressurise Doyle here, and final touch deemed to be off the Duhallow goalkeeper, and a 45 for Nemo. They're having that patch in the game now where they feel they've got to drive it home.
Yeah, and they've got those few scores on the board, which is crucial, and it's very hard to see Duhallow digging themselves out of this now, especially being a man down. If it was even numbers on the field, you'd give them a right chance, but no, that sending off has been crucial, and I suppose you could add that the miss that Nemo had was a really, really bad miss, so they'd be well out there now if they had got that goal.
And you mentioned the loss of the man, but not just the loss of a man, but the loss of maybe the man, Donncha O'Connor, in terms of someone who could steady things down, use that experience in a situation like this where Nemo are coming at them.
Yeah, he's such a leader in that. It must have been a big blow. But look, this is Luke Connolly to put a 2-point game.
This is a big moment. Connolly having an anxious look at it, and he gets the kiss off the upright, which is a very kind one. 2 in quick succession for Luke Connolly, and a 2-point lead for Nemo Rangers.
Yeah, Nemo seem to be on top here now at the moment, so it's going to be a big ask for Duhallow to dig this out. If they can get possession and maybe get the scoreboard taken over again and bring it down to 1-point game again, but big kick here now.
Well, they've got in Jerry O'Connor and Seamus Hickey, 2 men who can trouble the scoreboard. They've got a free here. Foul committed by Alan O'Donovan. Free taken out to this left-hand side. Kevin Cremin of Boherbue. Pushed in field by Jack Horgan. John McLaughlin, the fullback, as well forward. Here is Paul Walsh. They need an inspirational moment, and that one dropping just short from Paul Walsh. Thought he had the range, but maybe those tiring legs, and he's moving a little bit gingerly now as he's trying to get back into his own half. Maybe a touch of cramp setting in. Certainly muscle fatigue for Paul Walsh, who's had a big outing for Duhallow. But they've got to find the energy reserves from somewhere. That one's gone left and wide from Barry O'Driscoll. Still breathing in this game, Duhallow, but they need a couple of scores here. Another change on the way. Number 27 is Conor O'Keefe coming on. It looks like is it Seamus Hickey, who was in action for Rockchapel yesterday. Maybe he's got no more to give either.
Jerry O'Connor, a lone figure inside the Nemo half now at this stage, but if they did manage to get one ball to him, he's capable of beating his man.
Ball brilliantly broken there from a Nemo point of view by Aidan O'Reilly. Alan O'Donovan gets it to Barry O'Driscoll. Plenty of space here for Colin Tucker O'Brien. Kerrigan.
Yeah, Nemo's big lads are starting to get on the ball now. They're starting to show a bit of experience. They'll run the clock down and get the ball into the scoring zone and tick over a few points.
And they're taking the marks now as well. This one taken by Conor Horgan.
It's interesting that's the second mark that Nemo have pulled off there, and you know it's a concept that isn't being used by many teams, and it's worked well for them in those 2 occasions.
You mentioned the benches column earlier in the piece. Conor Horgan has come on and kicked 2 now, adding to his 1. Scored off the bench also against Douglas earlier in the championship. But also you mentioned Kerrigan and Connolly, and they've stepped to the fore, and not alone have they got on the ball, but they've taken their scores as well. Yeah,
look, Nemo were never going to panic really, and in fairness, the last 10 minutes when they went after the goal, they didn't panic. They kept the scoreboard ticking over, and they've showed their experience there the last few plays.
An experience there from James McDermott. Gave away the free, but then wrapped his man up, making sure, or it wasn't James McDermott, rather I think it was Aidan O'Reilly, wrapped his man up, making sure Duhallow couldn't get the free taken quickly. Nemo have got everyone bar 2 back inside their own half now. Duhallow need to work their way through. Owen McSweeney was the target. Pass didn't find him though. And Nemo with Kerrigan back inside his own 45. And with the extra man now, and they'll use Alan Cronin, all the experience in the world, and what a pass out to this right hand side. Inch perfect for Alan O'Donovan. And now it's time for Nemo to keep it. Little flick over his head has given Colin O'Brien a little bit of work to do. Got there ahead of Conor O'Callaghan. Now James McDermott not going to risk a 50-50 ball. Excellent defending by Daniel O'Mahony to dispossess Luke Connolly, but he's deemed to have touched it on the ground. And the free is Nemo's.
He certainly has been one of the more impressive guys there today, Daniel O'Mahony. Again, prepared to put his body on the line there. You know, great guts showing. Bit unlucky now with the pick up off the ground, but another opportunity for Nemo now to set up a counter-attack. And
just looking out at Paul Walsh, he's given a huge display today, but he looks out on his feet. He's asking the referee how much is left. The clock has ticked on to 60 minutes, 47 seconds. It's all at the discretion of the referee, Alan Long, now. Scoreboard reading, Nemo Rangers 13 points, Duhallow 1-7.
And Duhallow seem to be out on their feet, to be fair, which is expectable, but it's hard to see where they're going to get the goal from. But look, you never know. I think they're going to last attack there. They were pushing for a goal. Obviously, they need a goal to try and tie it. Will it come? I'm not so sure.
Neil Flahill from Mill Street is on for the few minutes that remain, and it's certainly looking like a goal or nothing now needed for Duhallow. And as it stands, they've trying to figure out how many men they can push forward and try and stay tight at the back and make sure it's only 1 score that they need in terms of it being a goal to get back on terms. Nemo know 1 more score could well decide this game once and for all. Kieran Histon as far forward as we've seen him all day. bottled up right under the nose of the linesman. It's Duhallow ball, and they've got to get it moving quickly, which they managed to do.
Duhallow need to get bodies up the pitch.
Nemo funneling around the man in possession, and Alan Cronin there again. He tried to dig the pass out to Connolly. Didn't go to his man though. Maybe this is it for Duhallow. Driving forward, Conor O'Callaghan. Connolly gets back to get a hand in. Referee taking a good look at this one. What's his decision? He's going to throw it in by the looks of it. Mark Ellis has to win this ball against James McDermott. You feel McDermott gets his hand on it. Conor O'Callaghan back in possession for Duhallow. He's been fouled. And now they've got to load those bodies forward. 62 and a half minutes on the clock now.
Just wonder will we have a Seamus Derby moment?
It's all or nothing. I get Mark Ellis and Paul Walsh probably moving into the edge of the square here.
Well, it's been a dramatic day already with us here in the Examiner. A cracking Senior A hurling final between Father O'Neill's and Charleville. We'll be reflecting on that in the company of the lads over at the Parky Cueva in a few minutes' time. But is there to be late drama here? Conor O'Callaghan, Mark Ellis is right on the square. So too Paul Walsh. It's lifted in by Conor O'Callaghan.
Oh,
there is a lift at the net! Oh, incredible!
Mark Ellis, I think.
Oh, that's unbelievable, Mark Ellis.
Jeez, I'm eating my words now.
Oh, this is sensational. This is absolutely sensational.
Is there time for a winner?
In a forest of bodies, it looked like it was Mark Ellis who palmed it to the net beyond Micheál A. Martin, but it's not over yet. And Nemo come now, it's Jack Horgan. Mark Cronin wants the ball delivered inside.
The right man
Mark
has
Cronin
it now.
gets on it. Wants it on his left foot, being shown on to his right. Mark Cronin, he's in. This is it for Nemo Rangers over the bar. What a response from Nemo Rangers.
It's real.
What a semi-final this has been. And our Nemo Rangers to be the nemesis of Duhallow yet again.
Incredible the last couple of minutes here.
Will he give him a chance? Will he give him a chance to go back down the field?
It's difficult to, difficult to see. Look, Duhallow may be losing out, but it looks like that's going to happen.
He's looked like he's going to give him a chance though.
Maybe one last chance for the 14 men of Duhallow. Conor O'Callaghan who put that ball in for the goal. This is it now. Played forward, Shane Hickey. Shane Hickey's got two Nemo men, Histon and McDermott bottling him up. Back with Conor O'Callaghan again. Paul Walsh is free over on this near side. If he looks in that direction, instead it goes to the substitute, Aidan Brown. Aidan Brown looking to drop it inside. It's picked up by Alan Cronin. Nemo back in possession. It is all over. It is all over. The champions have somehow managed to win this one. Duhallow look crestfallen out there. Well, what an effort they gave it with 14 men right at the end. They got the goal, we think, for Mark Ellis. Looked to be sending it to extra time, but then a moment of absolute class for Mark Cronin, who avoided his marker, Michael Mahoney. Got it on his left foot and over the bar. What a finish to this semi-final.
What a finish. And with 2 minutes to go, we were saying the game was up, but in fairness, Duhallow kept fighting. I think Mark Ellis got a goal, went up the field, and the right man was on the right end of the move. And in fairness, he showed great composure again. I was wondering, was he going to go for a goal again? But he did the right thing, tap it over the bar, and made up for his error earlier on.
Conor, you've got to feel for Duhallow.
You have to, I mean, if they hadn't got the goal, you'd say they'd have been better off because but to get the goal and then to have it taken from you again was really tough. But you have to credit Nemo, they got the score again down the field, broke down, and that bit of experience, that bit of resilience was great from. But I'd say Nemo will go here today a bit disappointed with that performance. They've work to do before the final, but again, it's an ideal scenario. You get your wake-up call in the semi-final and you get it right for the final. But for Duhallow, the guys out there, the likes of Paul Welch, we were looking at him there, hanging out there on his feet, like after 2 hours of intense championship football, week in, week out. There's been a lot of good things about the system, but that type of thing, we have to have concerns about that.
I'm just looking down at Mark Ellis. I've been watching him. He walked off the pitch over on this near side. He's been shaking his head. He looks absolutely devastated. That was a score that looked like it might take this game to extra time, and Duhallow to do it with 14 men, it would have been an incredible effort to do it. But as we mentioned, there were guys who died out on their feet there today, but maybe just Nemo just had that clinical edge at the vital moment. And Mark Cronin, I mean, he's going to be a star for years to come, but just to do what he did, to back himself all the way, he was being tightly marked by Mahoney, but he found the space, he got on his left-hand side and he took his score.
Yeah. Man was on the ball, in fairness, and no better man to be on the end of a play. But and as I said earlier on, he showed great composure to actually get it around Mahoney. But in fairness to Nemo, took a quick kick out. They weren't happy with the draw. They wanted to push up for one equaliser, work the ball up the pitch into Mark, and in fairness, put it over the line. But as you said, credit to Duhallow, they died with their boots on. But I suppose the experience kind of told for Nemo at the end. And as I said, they'll probably be happy. They'll be delighted to get over the line here in the manner they did, and look forward to the final now next week.
Yeah, for Padraig Kearns and his selectors there with Duhallow, this will be so hard to come to terms with, to take. They gave it everything today. As we said, it's his 4th year in charge. That's twice beaten in finals, twice beaten in semi-finals. And as we mentioned as well, it'll be either Knocknagree or the Kanturk players that they won't have next year. So they'll be hoping this isn't the end of an era, that they'll have more players who can come through and step up, and they'll be back to challenge again next year.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good young players coming through there, and like as I said today, the two Mahonies, Shane Hickey, played well. So there's a lot of promise there. But I suppose it's particularly disappointing. The system probably worked against them in terms of games continuously on week and week, and injuries and what have you. So, but look, they have a lot to take out of it. That's not going to comfort them much at this very moment, but maybe in time when they'll reflect on it, they will. But again, you have to hand it to Nemo. Yeah. They looked, Duhallow got the first goal and they looked as if they were in control of the game. Unfortunately, the sending off was a major turning point there, and that gave Nemo numerical advantage, and no one better than Nemo to use that. And, in fairness to Mark Cronin and these guys, he had one man to beat there to get the last score, but, he was just totally composed, and as Colm said to me, the right man has it, and sure enough, he popped it over. And
you look at what they did down the stretch there, Nemo, and even as you mentioned, the reaction to the goal. But before that, when they needed their big players, they had their big players. Paul Kerrigan stepped forward, Luke Connolly stepped forward. The presence of mind, Luke Connolly and Conor Horgan, was it to take those 2 marks on the inside as well when they were being tightly marked, knew what they had to do. They got 2 points from that as well. And maybe Alan Cronin towards the end as well, his experience defensively showed up well. Yeah, and when Duhallow got the goal, there was no sense of panic for Nemo. And in fairness to, as you said, the big players, the likes of Paul, Luke, Barry, they stepped up, and those kick big scores for them just to settle them back in. And then we were looking like this. It was Nemo's, and we were kind of writing off Duhallow, but in fairness to them, they came back and got the goal. But as Conor says there, obviously you feel sorry for Duhallow. I don't think there's much more they could have done, but as I say, I think there's the experience of Nemo won out in the end. Yeah, from Paul O'Donovan's point of view, sorry Conor, he'll look at this as well. Look, semi-finals are there for winning. It doesn't matter how you win them, as long as you win them. They're through to another final now. He'll certainly have seen parts of the game today that he'll be able to work on in terms of the final, but as we said, semi-finals, just win it. Oh yeah, if he went through here today, and got through comfortably, he'd have nothing to learn. He's an awful lot to learn now, and it's very easy to go back to the dressing room now and say to the lads, look, we need to do this and that. So he's going to do it, but I think we'd have to mention the influence of Paul Kerrigan there at the crucial stage when other people were maybe finding it difficult to step up. Paul stepped up and kicked a couple of great scores. Before we finish up, your thoughts on what's to come still tonight, that second semi-final, St Finbarr's. They had to wait an awful long time before they finally got back on top a couple of years ago, and Castlehaven, who've looked good this year. How do you see that one? Yeah, well look, I suppose, as I said earlier, I think the bookies have the Bears at 2-1. I saw the Bears on Wednesday night against Newcestown. Newcestown are tough opponents at the best of time, and they really took it down to the wire, and were a little unfortunate maybe they didn't get a result out of it. But I'd have to say the Bears will have to improve on that performance, on Wednesday night's performance, to get over Castlehaven. Castlehaven are playing particularly well this year. A lot of good forwards. Maybe defensively they might have some questions to answer yet. But, at the end of the day, I think Castlehaven will come through on that one. Yeah, Colm, how do you see it? Yeah, look, again, if we had half as a close game like this, we'd be delighted. As Conor said there, the Bars had the game played midweek. It's going to be interesting to see how will Castlehaven. They haven't had a competitive game in a number of weeks now, so I suppose will there be a bit of a rustiness to them? It's going to be interesting to see. But I actually, do you know what? If I'd put a name on it, I think Castlehaven probably do it. Right, so 2 votes for Castlehaven here. We'll wait and see how it goes. Conor and Colm, thanks a million for your expertise today. We really enjoyed this one, and we should finish up by saying really massive credit to both squads today, Duhallow and Nemo Rangers, in very difficult conditions for serving up an absolute thriller here. Looked like Duhallow were going to take it with 14 men to extra time, but then Mark Cronin stepped up to score a last gasp winner. Sensational semi-final, Nemo winning it by 14 points to 2-7. So that's where we'll say goodbye to you from here. But as we leave you, we're going to hand you back to Páirc Uí Chaoimh and our team there, where already there was a pretty sensational Senior A hurling final already today between Father O'Neill's and Charleville. So we'll get the thoughts on that and also look ahead to the Glen and Blackrock in the Premier Senior final as well, in the company of Ronan Kern and Ger Cunningham with Oisín Langan.